93% of the urban population have access to improved water. 42 or 43% of the rural population have access to improved water. 66% have access to improved sanitation in urban areas. 2% have access to improved sanitation in rural areas. And when we look at the urban population, that's largely in the capital city of Miami. So when you look at the level of resources that are going into the sector, and this is a country where you have 80% of the population still living in rural areas and 90% of the poor. If the majority of your resources are going into the capital city, and the policy statement is equitable access and affordable access for all, clearly there's a disconnect between what policy says and what implementation says. And so this is basically an argument to say, look, if you're going to follow the policy, then resources need to be allocated in areas that are going to reach the poor. And that's where it comes back to our first question of who and where are the poor in a country. So again, that's sort of more resources are needed, but resources need to be better targeted. Second is, if you want to have and maximize impact on human development outcomes, such as childhood stunting, which is, I think, what the world around has acknowledged as a silent emergency that impacts human capital and future generations, then just doing a water intervention or just doing a nutrition intervention alone is only going to get you a marginal change. It's when you start to combine these interventions is that basically what we say is that 2 plus 2 doesn't equal 4, but 2 plus 2 equals 8. Because when you combine the interventions, you get more than the sum of its parts. And so this comes to the sort of the non-monetary, poverty aspect of this work, is that, we're trying to influence like how people think about the use of resources and getting the most bang for your dollar.
Can you give an example? I think